And welcome to another edition of Open Mic Wrestling Night here live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Calypso426. If you are not listening live on this 24th day of February, you are listening via Filling the Void Podcast Network, Spreaker.com/filling_the_void. And then you are also listening by way of iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more outlets. There's a million of them through the Spreaker, but I can't really remember them all. So anyway, let's get this live screen cracking. The live screen is cracking, and we are ready to rock and roll. And now, finally, if you're watching live on Twitch, on the bottom here, there you go. I have things posted up of a name, if you're a latest follower, if you're a latest subscriber. And yes, that is my name down there. I don't know how the hell that happened. But either way, and then just so that maybe I can keep track and you get the acknowledgement on screen if you're following or doing anything. It'll show right here on the show live. So, from the time of from Thursday to now, there's a bunch of things that have been going on in the world of pro wrestling, it makes it much easier for me to come on a Sunday, and it's not a pay-per-view preview or anything of that sort. It's just me doing basically my usual Thursday show, but on Sunday or Saturday, which day I wind up coming on. With that said, there are new nude leaks out there, and it's not quite the way that you think of it when you hear those words together. In fact, it's quite the opposite, and I'll leave it at that for right now. And we also have DX going in the Hall of Fame, and we also have some shakeups in the WWE landscape, both on screen and behind the scenes, which is actually very interesting because, I'm being a sarcastic ass at this point, because they're having their they would have their formal shakeup coming up, I believe, after WrestleMania. I'm not so sure, like a week or two after WrestleMania. And now you're seeing a shakeup happening right now, and this is almost like reminiscent of back in the day when you would have that, like Black Monday in the NFL. You would have I forget what exactly they called it, but when all the releases were happening at once in WWE because of people having their deals finish, let go, and whatnot. So we're getting that right now. I kind of want to start with DX going into the Hall of Fame first, because I really didn't quite mention that on Thursday, as it was announced on Monday. I think the most important for me, Triple H is going into the Hall of Fame, which people would say, despite him having his role in WWE and more importantly NXT, it's almost like why Vince McMahon wouldn't be inducted right now, because he has such a high profile role within the WWE still, and they're not going to put a promoter in active. And that's basically what he is right now, as a promoter for NXT. And he's going in now on a wrestling merit of some sort. Not the 14-time world champion. He won a couple of those 14 world championships under DX, or some incarnation of DX. Did he actually? I think he did. Anyway, then you have Shawn Michaels going in as the second two-time Hall of Famer. Obviously, Michaels went in by himself, and now he joins only Ric Flair as the two members of the Hall of Fame that are going in twice. Ric Flair obviously going in by himself, and then going in again for the Four Horsemen. Now Michaels is going in obviously as an individual performer, and now as a part of DX. So yeah, that's the story there. The New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, they could go in on their own merit too as one of the better tag teams in pro wrestling, but they were most known for their time in DX, so that's why they're getting in there. And the other part of this where then obviously then there's X-Pac. He's another one that could have gotten in by himself. He's done a lot in wrestling, and obviously he's getting in that way too. And the last one that's getting in with DX is someone who many believe that should be in on their own merit as an individual, and that's China. She's going in as a member of DX in the Hall of Fame. While, like I had just stated before, that she really, I believe, should have gone in on her own. However, because of all the backstage, of all the things behind the scenes and whatnot from that end, obviously that wasn't going to happen. But I'm just glad that now China's going in at all, period. She deserves to go in in any way, shape, or form. That, first woman to enter the Royal Rumble match. Well, now you can classify as the first woman to go into the men's Royal Rumble match. She is the first and only woman probably going to be at this point to be a holder of the Intercontinental Championship. And just for what she did at that time, breaking down barriers and doing things her way, which is, you look back on it now and it's like, that's pretty awesome. So while I agree with the people in the sense that she should have gotten in by herself, let's just be happy that she's even going in at all. The only thing that I don't like about this is that she wasn't alive to see it. And that's, and I posted this on the socials at one point. And if you want to call in and talk about this, the number right there at the bottom of the screen. She, not only seemingly the WWE has a problem with this, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame does the same thing, where bands and artists are snubbed for too long, and I'm talking in particular now about bands, rock bands that seem to be the last ones to get in, the last ones to even be considered, and okay, thank you. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I can't. I'm not Eddie Trunk. I'm not Music Wiz like he is or anybody else would be. But I can say, I just know that bands have been inducted too late. I don't believe that when a rock band's getting started or any, that their end goal is to, oh, well, I'm going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or this, that. But for a band to get that acknowledgement, and I speak for this about pro wrestlers too, that, if they left a big enough legacy, and, they should be acknowledged. If they were, you look at, okay, let's look at China as an example. she basically led the way for women wrestlers to not only, because you looked at a lady wrestler and they were skinny and they were, like beautiful, this, that. Not that China wasn't a good looking woman, but, you know, when did you see a woman that big, and meaning just jacked, ripped, doing what she did and against men? She was a trailblazer in that sense. She, again, did things her own way and left a legacy that people obviously remember now still. And no matter what she did outside of the squared circle, people choose to remember her for what she was in the ring. And that's like any Hall of Fame, whether it be pro football, basketball, baseball, rock and roll. There's there's circumstances that outside of the performance aspect will and should keep you from the Hall of Fame. Namely Pete Rose, best example. And in baseball Hall of Fame, there are terrible people that are in the confines of the Hall of Fame that they're remembered, but they're remembered for the accolades that they got on the baseball diamond. Where if a band was doing something different and they influenced a bunch of other bands, they wrote songs, they did other things. Just don't wait till it's too late. And that's like with wrestlers. China was doing something different that hadn't been seen in quite as dominating of a way as she had done it. And you even had women like Alundra Blaze before her, and a bunch of others who wasn't trusted with the responsibility of being the first woman to be an Intercontinental Champion, to be the first woman in the Men's Royal Rumble match. And now there have been 4. Yeah. So it's China, then Beth Phoenix, then Karma, then most recently at this past Royal Rumble, Nia Jax. But who was the first? China. And obviously when opportunities were presented to her, she took full advantage of it. And again, you can sing the accolades and praises of X-Pac and the Outlaws and Michaels and Triple H. But for me, the most, and even Billy Gunn had said it in a recent interview this past week, that he was just happy. He was, now, not that he wouldn't have been happy accepting the induction, but for him, because he was on the road with her all the time and performing with her on a weekly, pretty much a daily basis, he was just happy that she got in at all. So when he was told that, okay, DX is being inducted, okay, that's cool, and they're putting China in, okay, that's even better. Obviously, and like if you're following Mick Foley on Twitter, that he has a lot of very fond things to say about China, and a lot of other people have had fond things to say about China as well. Again, not that she didn't have her issues, but she was a great performer and obviously a friend to many. So for her to receive this honor and induction